Hi, I'm the rum.
And I'm the wine.
Yes, and we're back again today with a video that's a little different. We've both been to each other's countries, Barbados and Austria, but what we're going to tell you today is our first impressions of when we actually got to see it for the first time.
Should be fun.
Yes, let's go.
Hi, I'm Julia, the wine.
Hi, I'm Samora, the rum.
We met in London, fell in love, and moved to Ireland.
We share tips on being an expat, travel, cultural experiences, and living life efficiently. So how we're going to do this is that we're going to ask each other questions about what our first impressions were when we went to Barbados and Austria. For this video, we're going to go with Austria first, because alphabet, I guess.
But make sure to subscribe, because we'll be doing Barbados next.
Yes.
So don't miss that.
I miss Barbados.
Soon we'll be back.
Yes, you heard it here
Spoiler
first.
alert.
Shh.
So on your first trip to Austria, we actually picked you up from the airport in Bratislava. So you got to see a bit of Slovakia first, and then we're like, oh yeah, this is Austria now, I know it looks the same. But we're in Austria now.
Yeah, you
so
could.
what was your impression of that, first impression of that day?
Okay, well, the first thing to note that Barbados is a small country, so it's fairly densely populated. So the first thing as we were driving in Austria, I noticed was that how much space there was, because usually in Barbados, you're driving and you're bound to see every few minutes houses, hotel, neighborhoods, but in this case, the towns, they're just interconnected, so you have long drives where you're just seeing nothing but fields and greenery. Your odd, energy making windmill in the background, but I really liked that. And one of my favorite times, well, this wasn't the drive from the airport, but when we went to the west of Austria, was mountains. Barbados also doesn't have any mountains. Probably one that I'm not too sure if it's a hill.
Mountain.
Yes, it's barely mountain category, more like a hill, I don't know. But this was the scene. We're at a hotel, I wake up in the morning, go outside, and there are beautiful snow-capped mountains. It was just a gorgeous view, and that's kind of like my first real impression about the nature in Austria. That'll always stick with me. So yeah, beautiful stuff and mountains, snow-capped mountains, when it's near winter, of course.
And sometimes in the summer if it's a glacier. Geography fun fact.
Awesome.
So for those of you who didn't know already, in Austria where I grew up is a village. So what did you think coming to an Austrian village for the first time?
Well, there was no better word for me to use than quaint. Yeah, it was pretty cool because her village is kind of like in one of the, it's not exactly the most well-known wine region, but
it's literally in the name. We're like the wine district of Lower Austria, so
yeah,
it's what we do, wine,
exactly.
Which is also why the wine.
Mind blowing right here, folks. So yeah, that was one of the interesting things because the entire village is built around the wine production. They have these cool things called like Kellergasse.
Yeah.
Kellergasse, right?
Kellergasse.
I almost call it Kellerstrasse. For English, it's kind of like the wine cellar street, where all of the families would have their like wine cellars, where most of them, back in the day, would have made wine, and there are lots of wine fields around, or wine vineyards. What do you say? Which one is it?
I think vineyard, but you're the native speaker here, so we call them Weingärten, which is literally wine gardens, so
okay.
Any of those, really.
Yeah, anybody knows exactly what they're called, you can comment below. Yeah, and there's fields, and it's also surrounded by the forest. And it's just a nice, calm place, especially at night. I mean, it gets pitch dark and quiet. Yeah, quiet. Quiet, still quaint. Those are the exact words I would use to describe it.
Pretty accurate. So part of village life is also kind of interacting with all the people that live in the village. So what was your first impression of the villagers?
See, interacting is a very strong word. I don't speak German, and most everyone else does. So I couldn't really talk to the people and see, okay, this is how Austrians are like. But when I did get a bit of an inkling was with Wandertag. If you don't know what Wandertag is, we have a video. We'll post a link somewhere up there.
Or down there.
Both places. Yeah. What Wandertag is that it's basically a hiking day where they go and raise funds for the local fire department. Okay, it's probably not a fire department, more of a fire brigade, but...
It's a voluntary thing, so it's a nice thing to like fund them because they do that in their own free time. So yay, thanks fire brigade.
We love you. So, what I realized about Austrians is that the highlight of this hike wasn't the actual walk or for exercise. It was the stops for food, drink, and alcohol. So this was my impression. It's kind of like Austrians. People that, when daily life or the rigors get too hard, there's always a glass of wine, somewhere to sit, relax, and eat, just ready at a moment's notice. Yeah, that'd be it. I think I covered that pretty well, did I?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So since you already brought up people and their love of food, we do love food, what did you think about the food?
Yes, the food. Well, this is an interesting thing coming from someone that loves fish, who visits a landlocked country. So the fish selection wasn't much, of course. And of course, there's a lot of pork as well, so vegetarian, that also doesn't mean much to me. But what they make up for in all of this are desserts. There's always time for desserts, and in Austria, there's an overabundance of dessert.
There's no such thing as overabundance of desserts, just enough of desserts.
Yeah, we've got your apfel strudel, and all sorts of cakes, torte, the list goes on and on and on. What I did realize that I didn't know before is that I like poppy seeds. Poppy seeds in my bread, poppy seeds in my jam, poppy seeds everywhere. Yeah, I had a lot of things with poppy seeds in it. And also, for the more savory stuff, I also like the canoodle, which is kind of like a dumpling. But here's the beautiful thing. You can put savory or sweet stuff in it. It's kind of like dessert. Your foods are desserts, and your desserts are foods. Perfection.
Yeah, we do literally eat dessert for lunch. It's like, Grandma will be like, hi, here's the Apfelstrudel, this is your lunch today.
Apfel strudel for lunch, isn't it beautiful? So yes, Austrians know how to do desserts. That's my big takeaway.
Thank you. So you already brought it up before, is the thing with the language that obviously people in Austria speak German. If you didn't know, that's what we do. We speak German, like Germans.
Yes, and I, from Barbados, do not. So, you know how usually you go to a country, because Austria was actually the first country I went to where I didn't speak the native language. Yeah, that tells you how well traveled I was before. And so you're there looking at the signs and trying to figure out a bit of where you are, get a kind of like a flavor and feel for the place. I could not understand nothing. There was an absence of English completely. I was thinking, well, this is a horrible place for me to get lost in. Yes, that's my main impression. There's German and German. Austrians love German. Everything's there. The billboards, the TV, everything. So, unless you're mostly in Vienna, you're outside of Vienna, you better know some German if you're traveling there, or at least, get some Google Translate or something.
I'll have your interpreter with you.
Yes, she does a very great job. And I'm also learning German for anybody that's like, you should learn the language before you go. I'm getting there. Ich spreche Deutsch. I was trying to figure out why to say Bissell or...
No,
Sorry.
go ahead, that's Austrian.
Yes, Austrians are awesome. Yeah. Next question?
So, since you already mentioned Vienna is a bit different than the rest of Austria, what did you think of Vienna and especially transport system? Because that's was something I talked about a lot that I miss in the UK.
Yes, I think, yeah, Vienna might take a whole other video, but just to touch on the transport, yes. You know, we lived in the UK for a year, and Julia was always going on about, you know, how she prefers the Viennese transport system, and I'm thinking, have you seen the tube? Have you seen London's mass transit system? What on earth are you talking about? Well, I learned what she was talking about. Yes, one of the things I kind of really love are the stations. They have the new modern stations like the Hauptbahnhof, sorry. Yes, correct word there.
The central train station in Vienna.
Yeah, I kind of like this kind of like a sleek, like metal grey look that they have going for them. But there are also these other train stations which are older. It's done in a, what was the word? It was an Art Nouveau style. And also the trains. The trains, they are fast. Literally, whenever they move off, you have to like hold on a bit, and the stations are huge. It's pretty cool. It's a lot more spacious. The tube felt cramped.
Yeah.
Pretty much in comparison. And along with the trams and everything else, it's a lot more comfortable of a ride. All they need now is to stop, you know, having those things with the paper where you manually
the ticket
stuff.
system, you have to manually go stamp your ticket if you have like a day's ticket. Nothing like the Oyster card or Leap card in Dublin. It's like, no, too much modern stuff. Vienna is too slow to change for that. You'll need another 10-20 years.
Totally, but hey, what can I say? Vienna is very nice to transport for getting around. Yeah, it was definitely pretty good.
And cheap.
Yes,
Looking
oh my
at you,
gosh,
London.
cheap. Yeah, we'll miss that.
And last but not least, the favorite topic of everyone living in Dublin. What did you think about the weather?
Well, the interesting thing is that I've always been to Austria during the autumn, and also the winter, so I've never really gotten to experience the summer temperatures where it gets really hot. I've heard how hot Austria gets. I'd love to be like, oh, this isn't hot at all. Yeah, I bet one day I'm going to eat my words when I do go to Austria during like deep hot summer temperatures.
Technically, in amount of degrees, it gets hotter than Barbados. Think about that.
Yeah, kind of scary. The weather, I found it cool. I really liked it. The one thing that I'm happy about, because we lived in the UK for a year, so I was pretty much used to colder temperatures, especially autumn type temperatures, but it wasn't as windy. Like Dublin. I have a newfound appreciation of, you know, colder weather where the wind isn't lashing you in your face every couple of minutes. So that was the last question from this group of questions, and those were my really first impressions of Austria. It's pretty much a wonderful place. I go back often. I have no choice but to, but you should really think about it if it's on your, you know, bucket list of places to go. Next up, I'm gonna have some fun asking Julia exactly what her impressions of Barbados were. Probably a place where I assume you didn't even dream that you'll end up going. Kind of like me with Austria.
So make sure to subscribe so you won't miss that. And see you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Bis später.